Lexical and statistical cases of translation errors in translation of technical text comes to the animation point rather. Let me ask what how we can talk first about the problem. Magistr after sorular olmayan rapor xulosasi mavzu Toshkentda belgilangan tomonidan berilgan mashq tadqiqotda Samarqand iqtisodiyot va servis instituti ularni o'qitish xarakterlari tuzilib, Mardiy tomonidan berilgan. Reglamentiya rioyasida 10 daqiqada asosiy mazmun bilan tanishtirdik.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Flora. I have conducted my research work on the topic lexical and statistical features of the translation errors in translating technical text. Well, to make it clear, technical text, also called technical documents, or technical writing, are documents that present technical information in a clear and concise manner. Well, given their significance in fields like engineering and medicine, my research focuses on analyzing the errors that can arise during translation and their impact on technical communication. Well, the complexity and necessity of the research lie in the increasing importance of effective technical translation in today's globalized world. The accurate communication across linguistic and the cultural boundaries is crucial. Well, the object of the research is the translated technical texts, which are analyzed in terms of stylistic and lexical features of translation errors. And the subject of the research focuses on the stylistic and lexical features of translation errors in technical text. These aspects are critical in understanding how errors impact overall quality, functionality, and effectiveness of technical documents. Well, in this research, there are several tasks, and one of them is reviewing the literature on technical translation, focusing on stylistic and lexical challenges. And another one is conducting an in-depth analysis of technical translation errors. Through case studies and examples from real-world computer-based technical documents. And the next one is evaluating the impact of the stylistic and lexical errors on the functionality and usability of translated text. When it comes to the scientific novelty of this research, I can say that unlike previous studies, this research deals into cultural and linguistic challenges specific to translating technical material into Uzbek language, from English into Uzbek language, and addressing the lack of standardized technical terminology. And the inclusion of real-world case studies from technical documents, like computer science subjects, further enriches the analysis. Further enriches the analysis, providing practical insight into common translation errors and their impact. And this research not only fills a critical gap in Uzbek technical translation research, but also offers valuable recommendations for educators, translators, and industry professionals to enhance the quality of technical communication. Well, I have some, I don't know, just hesitation to choose in which field to go in terms of technical text. And I chose the material of computer science subject because I studied computer technology field at college. That's why this field is relatable for me. And I have some knowledge on this subject. And I chose one book from Glenn Bookier's Computer Science and Overview, and I have analyzed lexical and stylistic features of translation errors. Actually, there is no translation of this book in Uzbek language, but I tried to analyze some parts in which words and sentences which can be translated incorrectly. And I have suggested some possible good version of the translation. And actually, my research is related to fields and intellectual and stylistic features. That's why, to make it more clear to the readers, I divided it into two main chapters, and I wrote lexical and stylistic features in separate chapters. In chapter 2, I have given some information about lexical features, and in chapter 3, some information about stylistic features. And in chapter 2.3, I have analyzed the lexical features of translation errors in technical translation. Possible lexical. And here we can see some words, for example, the word algorithm. Well, this word can be possibly translated incorrectly, translated in Uzbek language like algorithm. The plural form suggest multiple algorithms, which may not align with the intended meaning. In technical context, algorithm often refers to a singular concept or process. The correct translation should be algorithm, and the singular form is appropriate as it preserves. It preserves a specificity of the term in technical discussion. The next word is memory. So most times and many times this word can make confusion in the readers, especially for the lay readers who do not know about computer science, who do not have knowledge on this subject. And possible error might be when the translation is given like quadrat, the word quadrat. This translation conveys the idea of human cognitive memory rather than computer memory. It may lead to ambiguity in technical context. Well, adding to the word, adding to the word constitution, it may be given as a glossary, or it may be given information near the word quadrat. And in this case, it clarifies the term. This term refers to computer memory, RAM, or storage memory, rather than human memory. Well, the next word is data. Data might be possibly translated incorrectly, like doing manual tasks. Manual tasks might be interpreted as news or general information, which can cause confusion in technical context where data has a specific meaning. Well, I will mention again, this word can translate it correctly, right? It's right, but lay readers who do not know this subject may have confusion in understanding the exact meaning. That's why some clarification should be given. And exact translation for the word data should be malumot. The singular form better aligns the concept of data in technical context, avoiding precision. Well, there are also another words you can see here, and also in my research work, there is a big table. And so what's that? What about in chapter 2.3, I have worked with 3.3, and I have worked with statistical features of translation. Well, statistical features might be very important because sometimes, because of cultural nuances, it can be translated incorrectly into another language. There is also a table of the words which can be possibly translated incorrectly into that language. And also their correct version translation. You can see here that the word heavily, interrupt, deadlock, semaphore, reversal efficient, multitasking, priority, time sharing. And I have very important sentence here. Well, the sentence, I have actually analyzed a lot of sentences from that book, but this one, data consistent ensures the consistency of stored data. The correct translation is, yeah, here, I will explain it. A stylistical error could render this as this longer version introduces redundancy and shifts the tone from formal and technical to unintellectual. The coincide version preserves the professional style. That's why sometimes giving extra information may lead some misunderstanding for the reader. Well, when it comes to conclusion, the nature of technical translation, the lexical precision, cultural adaptation, stylistical consistency, the technological integration intersect to create a complex and dynamic system. In conclusion, this research not only sheds light on critical challenges, but also opens doors to further exploration in the unresearched field of Uzbek technical translation. Well, honestly, I am completely committed to advancing this research in my further education because there was a lack of information on this subject. That's why I'm going to work in later. Thank you for your attention.
Sağlar var mı aklınızda? O kadar olsaydı. Sağlar.
So, Nora, thank you for your presentation. I would like to know about the research methods that you have used during your research. Here you have mentioned about cultural methodology. Could you please explain and give some examples based on your research? Yes, of course. Cross-cultural analysis methodology. It's just analyzing the text according to the cultural differences and nuances. Well, in technical text, we can see a lot of terms or the unit of measurement. And sometimes it may be a bit difficult to understand, for example, the word inch or pound in American or in British culture. And in technical translation, it should be suitably translated into complete language method or decimeter or let's say pound. Centimeter again. Okay, good. Based on your translation about that you have described, could you please give an example on that? From computer science, you mean, right? From computer science, there are units of measurement for the memory check, memory of the it might be even like let's say billion or let's say byte terabyte these words, and these words might be a bit difficult to understand in some cultures. For example, bit, the word bit and the byte. Complex way to translate that for you. We can translate it using the definition. I guess, it's hard to translate technical terms, but I suggested translating it with definition, giving the same sentence and giving the same word, but with definition. And in definition, and what is the role of cognition in translation? Cognition is we use a lot of just now we say cognition, cognitive skills, concentrated focus. So you understand what is cognition? In cognition, how can I say? A technical language is hard because I could understand your cognition, please, yes, your understanding. Cognition. Maybe it's related to human mind, human thought, and in translation, sometimes human cognition. Translation mostly, especially when it's about social linguistics. In this case, also there would be linguistic about a lot about cognition. So for the young translator, you need to understand. At least you need to. Let's say you have your own representation of this very interesting actually field in translation studies. That's why I think that all of you as translators, you need to get acquainted with this information during the lectures about translation, because without it you will not understand what you should do and how you can analyze it and how you can represent it in another language. And you get really know about it. So that's why for future please get acquainted with this information. So let's talk about it. That's why I asked you about cognition. It was, let's say like this, according to your presentation, I prepared my question. That's why. Yeah, and I couldn't go very deep on this topic. That's why. Actually, there are a lot of things to go. Yeah, if you want to work in translation, here is the total translation. I can get enough time.
It's just
We're
advice,
on the
yeah.
topic.
So not worry, it's just advice.
Yeah, I got it. I am going for it forward. I couldn't find enough information on the topic. That's why it's a bit later, and I'm going to work with.
We wish you good luck tonight, so go and just, I hope that you will get your PhD. So you know, wish you good luck.
Yeah.
My question is about I've chosen the IT term.
Mm-hmm.
But how can you identify the selected features in IT terms? Because I can see on the left, features that you have analyzed. And, do you say that, lecture features, an example, or that examples of analysis can be known?
Analyzing the word result in the book I chose was not something by language skills. It's and I did compare that from English to Spanish. I did how can I say? I did analyzing possible error and giving just clear meaning of the word for translators actually as a suggestion. It would be a bit better because I studied in this field at college and it was really hard to understand technical terms and because of some misunderstanding in the book because they tell you that first itself without its definition, and in this case, for the beginner or for the lay reader, it's hard to understand. And I just suggested some tips or some techniques to make it more clear, and according to silence and
About emotional part, am I right? Can you speak about emotions when you speak about terms?
No, because yeah, so this is why, according to your terminology, yeah, according to terminology, you should know about it. So,
in terms of silent features, I analyze it and using active and passive sentences. And giving extra explanation, sometimes it may lead to misunderstanding. It may go further exactly, and I mean the redundancy, and using extra words, mostly active and passive words using. In statistical features, I analyze these ones. And also tone. Sometimes I recommend tone because of the tone, the sentence or the term might be understood and misunderstood. That's why I work on the tone part from statistical features and using accent tone.
As the object of your research work, you should have chosen not the IT term, because in this way you could cover and you could just reveal the phenomenon of the lexic and the feature. Think about it.
and you need to get across all information and realize what are you going to represent in the future, because it is quite important to distinguish it from
The challenges and problems in teaching and learning simultaneously interpreting from who's speaking to English. So, why I chose is the reason why, because our language is a very broad language, but few scholars actually specify the language. So for this reason, I just chose this topic because there are quite few challenges and problems, especially translating English into speech. They are quite precise. My research objectives are to identify key challenges and problems and I try to address these problems and challenges in my dissertation, giving examples. So, because especially simultaneous interpretation become great importance in teaching as well as learning. So, for this reason, my objective is to analyze these problems. So, and I explore some solutions to improve these training methods. And there is one scope. The main scope is from English interpretation. So, let's move on the more important parts of my presentation. Here is the challenges and simultaneous interpreting linguistic challenges. So let me show this. Well, I just highlighted three important challenges. The first one is the difference in grammar structures, especially in speech grammar and English grammar patterns. So another problem is lack of equivalent terms, because you know that our language has been driven from different roots of the European, Indo-European language. So English is another root. So for this reason, we have, I guess, surely actually, we are lack of equivalent terms, especially using idioms and some phrasal verbs. Is an additional speech style. Because I believe that English people they have different registers, they have different tones, and they have different patterns in formality. So let's look at some problems here, difficulties. So especially in teaching simultaneous interpretation, we have it can be equivalent of functions, because not many people are very skilled in using computer technology. So it's reason that in teaching, that might be a problem to address, first of all, teachers to use these technologies properly. So, and they can be know the environment, because our culture, people are not just adapted to, we need to specialize. Teachers can face different difficulties. First of all, cognitive overload, you mentioned, is children. So cognitive overload means that our students actually they have different phases of approaching to the field. So because let me just give one example by using gestures. So in all of the material that now we are going to translate great short memory techniques, because you need to grasp the material and directly and usually I observe my students as well. So they have a few of these. So this is a great barrier to deal with education in learning. So teachers are quite confident to teach, but students are always afraid of showing themselves off, and they are also always avoid making mistakes, and that just puts a barrier in the thinking process. Yeah. I would like to give other examples. In my presentation, I highlight and I remarked at some examples I obtained during my study period. So, and here is you can see that example one. So, we have one situation between formal and informal speech adaptation. So, for example, you must think that we also say, so you can see easily here the sentence syntax, the patterns of the structure of sentence, and here that now in formal English language, so we also say it's an honor for us to discuss the issue. So by comparing two language, and here is one informal one, we're going to talk about this issue with you. So, an individual challenge, maintaining an appropriate level of formality based on audience. I think that simultaneous interpreters, well, they should try to observe the audience before doing the job, and they have to choose a certain setting of the process. And we can make some noise, but this noise can be helpful So I just deliberately try to make the noise for putting students in hard process. So, but in the real conference, minimize noise, but we should just try to be aligned with this technology. We need to just prepare the booths and other types of microphones and headphones.
But you know, there are some times when I go to simultaneous study, we know all the ones that you mentioned now here, and we just we work straight away, directly.
But
Because we have so much noise around, we work and we
for this reason, we need to make students adapt to this stuff.
yeah, this is the reason why.
But this reason in this culture, people just make deliberate noises in meetings and in conferences. Uzbek people are
Yeah, it should be just,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe that I just try to choose the Italian language with the English language. Italian people culturally just try to mix with it during speech. So this type of language can help to the adaptation of them.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much for your preparation, for your presentation. I see your great interest in this field, and I'm very glad that we have such students. And I would like to know, so you spoke a lot about simultaneous translation. Yes, I need to know in your opinion, but so let's go like this. What about the situation with simultaneous translation in our class? What are we doing in Uzbekistan in order to improve this field? Maybe we have some programs, some specific additional material, or we have some courses, or we would like to, we prepare some programs, for, just you may travel, you may just study abroad in order to get acquainted with specific features of simultaneous translation. So what are we doing in Uzbekistan in order to improve this sphere? Because nowadays, this sphere is quite important. In the process of globalization, we can't survive without simultaneous translation, because we need to, let's say, to develop friendships and cooperation with people from other countries. In this sphere, we need good interpreters, simultaneous interpreters. So what are we doing in Uzbekistan in order to improve this sphere? Maybe you were acquainted during your research with some specific programs or some specific, let's say, extraordinary things of please.
All right. First of all, the country actually has done something to improve this field. So, one example of in this city, new university, tourism university. So, yeah, students can just study and to be an interpreter. Another way that I would like to suggest that they are not just being done by the government authority. So, one great solution to improve this field. So, we need to just make the TV programs. That's my new idea. Because we have channels. Thankfully, actually, we have English channels where we can watch some programs and news, but we don't have the type of the TV program which focus on the simultaneous integration process. So maybe that our children would like to be this type of simultaneous integration. And also that sometimes official meetings by the political members and by the president, we actually see the meeting, but the simultaneous interpreters are not always mentioned.
So let's
We don't know.
you
Maybe
need
there's
to
no-
involve your students in this process. Yes,
Yeah.
you need to involve them, you need to represent simultaneous translation. There's a more interesting sphere of linguistics, let's say like this. So what are you going to do? You need person, nowadays, master students, when I ask you, your group mates, when I ask them, what are you going to do? I mean, do you want to work as an interpreter or just, no, I want to be a teacher of English or something like it. So you need to involve that in this process. You need to find, let's say, some specific features in order, let's say, because we need specialists, we do not have them. We do not have them. Still, this is a problem for Uzbekistan. And what are we doing in order to overcome this problem? Just because if you write something, I mean, during your first, let's say, your first chapter should get acquainted with specific analysis with this problem in Uzbekistan. you need to represent this problem, and you need to find solutions for this problem. So what are we doing in Uzbekistan in order to improve it?
Well, the business is also developing very rapidly here, and we have some workshops and some fairs of different global companies. And I guess, recently actually America has launched this fair as well. And their students are being asked. And now we are just going there into that state in the transition process. So this is great motivation for them. But previously, I didn't see this type of such a real practical situation that the students actually involved. So this is one also example. And my solution would be to continue this actually practical lessons, not here in the practicing institute, just to be there. Maybe our institute has great different programs to teach students to travel actually to the type of meeting conferences we have used conferences in different countries. We need to just get the students who are willing to participate, and we would like to grant them. So go there and just practice, and this is a great solution for them.
I hope that with satisfaction, if you are going to overcome this problem. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
and then I will go and lead them.
Yes.
Maybe not.
So may I ask the personal question? What do you want to do in the future?
Well, that's a great question. So that makes me think a lot. So, well, I just can't take much time, but I'd like to share my ideas and opinions about this. So I just graduated pedagogical institute for my bachelor's degree, and I didn't want to be a teacher, but I'm a teacher now. So, and I just applied this university here just to continue my academic career. But here, some important actually days actually I just faced it. So now I'm thinking quite a lot, not to be a teacher, but to be a simultaneous interpreter. And I asked it different, interesting, and
What about teaching simultaneously?
in terms of teaching, and you are just directing me to be a teacher over here. But for my PhD level, I just thought and decided to continue this career abroad. Then I will think a lot. Maybe that I just I will just continue my teaching part time to be an interpreter, because this is the kind of a field that I didn't have such a basis of knowledge of this field, but the volunteering actually just shed a great light on this subject, and I became interested in it.
I want to see you as a teacher here in our university.
We need
Why not?
in our department.
Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, of course, I would accept this opportunity, of course.
So you're
Yeah, we really want.
Very good material for our
Thank you.
нужно ловить таких не отпускать.
Here, I always we come here, we will work together, we'll develop the sphere.
И вот нужно теперь просто его сюда заставить. Ассимилировать, мы должны еще предоставить возможность помогать.
I would understand.
Я сказала.
you try to provide the necessary recommendations.
Yeah, well,
I am
actually,
ready to okay.
yeah, I'm from here actually. My roots are living in Morgan. So then it's not difficult for me to be a mobile person. So I'm quite young, and it's not a problem. But yeah, I would accept. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Assalamualaikum. İşte yaptı.
Burada sinkron tartışma, Yunanistan, aynı zamanda
Buradan ağızdan içtim ve tabii ki ağızlarını koşulama. Bakın şu takılan taksirler o kadar yeterler. O kadar sabırlı, muayene sabırlı. Tabii ki ağızlarını başlarını tükürlerle koşulama. Tamam.
Reglamento kapsamında anlatıyorlar. Reglamento havalarında cevap verin. Şimdi asal kısmını yapayım. Şimdi vokal kısmı var. Ben şimdi başlayayım. Buraya da anlatıyorlar. Aslında yok. O mesleği sadece çalıştığınız toplantıda mahsusda yok yani işler. Mayaslarda. Olarak var. Yaptılar. Burada çıkartma. İşten sonra olmayan. Şafak ortasını aldım. Tahtadan tempodan uğramış. Tavandan vereceğim. Ve taşlı taklar. Tam da elektrik dışına bir kartı yazdı. Biyoloji insanlarda bu işe kartı çalıştırdı. Şanlı zamanla verir.
Good afternoon, dear teachers and honored guests. I'm very delighted to share my dissertation presentation with you. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity to share my presentation. So in this research, the importance of multilingual communication is explored in the process of translation and education. And also, this research focuses on the linguistic and cultural landscape of Pakistan. So, the importance of multilingual communication. All of us know in the connected world, multilingual communication is very important, and it links cultures and industry and communities. So, we know that Uzbekistan is very rich in its history and culture, and there were many kinds of language in its history. So,
you know that the people are smart, trying two different kinds of language at the time. So he wrote his works in Arabic, and in his native language he wrote some simple works to reach non-special audience. And he wrote these works in Tajik. So there was also Persian language, and it was criticized because there was not enough vocabulary. For example, while we are talking today, we want to explain our ideas and thoughts, but we cannot find some words which are very common. So we may use some words related to our language. And also, at the time new person came out, they used compound verbs. For example, ear and do. Ear and do in Tajik, a new person, gush kardan. And also, nowadays in Bukhara, they use that Russian and Tajik. For example, ждать никуда, or поздравить никуда. It's Russian and Tajik. Yes, that's not the reading the language. It's the implementation of multilingual communication already. We have implemented it. We cannot say that it's the reading the language. So impact of in Central Asia also Arab countries, Soviet area, post-Soviet period, and Russian. fashion famous. So from the time era came our multilingualism. So the study of multilingual communication highlights the need for a new approach to language acquisition and communication. So cultural understanding and cultural theory. Multilingual communication involves participants from different cultures. That's why we need to know different kinds of culture according to their language. So there are very important factors like cultural values and communication, customs, traditions, and ethnic culture. But being a professional translator, we need some proficient and professional knowledge. For example, for being a professional translators, language proficiency is the most important, and cultural awareness, communication skills, teamwork, and technology. So, the most important part of my presentation and work, multilingual communication in translation and focus on Uzbekistan. Now we move to the historical development of multilingualism and the role of cultural understanding in translation and the challenges and opportunities for developing multilingual skills in translation programs. So I mentioned about the history, linguistic diversity, and the importance of multilingual communication in Asia. So I can move to my results of my research survey. So nowadays, the state of multilingual education in Uzbekistan, there are different kinds of translation programs and offer comprehensive curriculum that covers translation theory, theoretically, and advanced techniques, and some practical experiences there are, and also language focus. We focus on the language more in this nowadays. So, according to the results of my survey, there are some challenges and opportunities for multilingual skills development. So, the first one is linguistic diversity. Classrooms in Uzbekistan often have students who speak a variety of languages. So, as a mother who is bringing very little kids, I can say that they are brought up in a multilingual atmosphere. I began writing this research last year and analyzing my children too. For example, they are 3 years old and I can speak them Turkish, sometimes Russian, English, and Uzbek. They also have multilingual, how can I say, they all use different language at the same time. For example, my son can say Balshoy Ot, and he can say, and also it's the multilingual communication. So there are curriculum standardization and resource constraints. We have curriculum standardization, but resource constraints. There are limited resources, such as there are qualified teachers, but practice is not as we wanted. Because Uzbekistan, you know, that increasingly engages with global markets, and Uzbekistan needs professional translators who can speak different kinds of languages. So there are different kinds of questions and 3 or more options on my survey, and 90% of multilingual background. Survey revealed that 90% of students believe their multilingual background enhance their translation skills. If they have multilingual background, they will have very strong translation skills. And the importance of multilingual communication. If they have the multilingual communication, they can be very successful translators. So, but some curriculum gaps, only 40% of students feel that their current curriculum adequately covers multilingual communication, suggesting a need for emphasis on practical skills. So my recommendations for enhancing multilingual education is practical experience, cultural immersion, advanced language courses, and teacher training. So the conclusion is multilingual communication is essential for effective translation and promoting cultural understanding in a globalized world. Translation education in Uzbekistan has made significant strides, but there is a big room for improvement in practical sides. If we implement it, multilingual communication as a necessary subject for the students of translation faculty, children who are growing up now in a multilingual atmosphere, it will be very difficult for our future. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Sağ olun. Hocam.
I analyzed each of my survey with a Google form. He helped me to conduct it, and according to the Google form results, I shortened my presentation. Students of and also some teachers where I work at school.
Разные группы студентов, она красивая, хорошо очень достойна. Она сама разработала его, мы тоже проверили, и даже молодец. It's very information of this question. So, what are the answers on your survey based on the survey? Some unexpected answers from teachers and students.
Yes, some answers were a bit strange, but they are not from our faculty. They were from the teachers where I worked, and I saw that they misunderstood it. That's why they were a bit strange. Qadrini pasaytirish yoki shunga o'xshash bo'lishi mumkin. Chunki tillar aralashganda bizni adabiy tilimizga zarar yetkazishi mumkin. Ko'p yaxshi tomonlarini bilganida faqatgina mana shu qismi muloqotda bizning adabiy tilimizga zarar yetkazishi mumkin. Ko'p tilli bo'lish bu tilimiz yaxshi deb hisoblaydi. Yaxshi deb hisoblashimiz sababi bu translation then in the translation process tarjima jarayonida ko'p tilni bilishni ahamiyati juda katta. Masalan, rus tilini o'rgangan odam uchun ingliz tilini o'rganish oson. Shunga o'xshash boshqa tillarni ham o'rganishda, chunki unda as my teacher said, cognitive skills yaxshi rivojlangan bo'lganligi uchun tillarni analiz qilishni o'rganish jarayoni yaxshi.
Dear colleagues, I'm very glad to see you. My name is Firuz. I'm from Toulouse University. First of all, Burma, thank you very much for your special and very interesting point of presentation. Of course, it's very actual and very important part because when you have a presentation, it's your project. First of all, I remember my friend, his wife from Japan, and he's from Ishtifa. And you can feel how difficult for the children, I mean, 3 daughters, which are lived in Japan, Tokyo, after that they live now in Pakistan, in Samarkand city. And this is a very important and special point for multicultural communication for the children, because I feel it. I feel it in the real life, because some periods they're teaching and speaking Japanese, and also at home they speak in Uzbek language, and some they have definitions, some problems in this kind of, they have disputes with his wife, of course, and they cannot choose the right way. That's why methodology of increasing and developing such as points is one of the main important parts in our life. That's why this is a very important part. And I think that it's not a question, but I can advise you that we should improve some methodology of teaching, maybe implementation in real life, how we can in real life implement such as points in our society. Thank you very much.
Synergy degan narsani o'sha yilda aytib o'tganman. Xuddi chunki bunaqa muammoli vaziyatda bo'lib turgani uchun synergy bu o'sha muammoli vaziyatda farzandlarga o'rgatish yo'lini ota-ona tomonidan topib chiqilishi, oson o'rganish. Bir kishi yapon, bir kishi Samarqandda, they have to find a way as a synergy.
Synergy, sorry. Thank you very much.
I have one more question. So, it's a crucial, top-notch topic as well. You know, he said the modeling it's like population, or when you raise your children, yes, in this multilingual environment, it's positive. But for the translation, it's not positive. Because everyone, when they become this professional interpreter, they are in search for words. In this case, they are, like in the middle, and then they cannot find the exact word. Like you said, for example, your kid says, a short word. So, we have different mindsets. In this case, for example, in their early age, they cannot find the mindset, for example, this one or this, and in the translation, or then one. That's why I would say that the topic wouldn't be like multilingual education, but multilingual approaches. Yes, this one is more actual in this case. Because you mentioned the topic as translation. Not about your kids, it's just, it's a crucial problem, dilemma, even for our students. Because I teach simultaneous interpretation, as you know, also we have discrete interpretation, and then research on words. Even they know Russian, Uzbek, Tajik, they mix up the languages. Like you said with this one, поздравьте, some kind of words, like you mentioned. We should know, as translators, we should know the exact word. And even it's important, it's simultaneous interpretation. It's okay, it's a great job that you have done. But when it comes to the translation, we should be strictly researching the exact mindsets. It's just, it's not just about the problem, it's just a recommendation. You should work out these points as well. Because translation is quite hard to translate. Because I'm translating, and even in the process of translation, sometimes me, we got just, revised conditions, and I cannot find some kind of words. In this case, I'm in search of glossaries, in search of dictionaries, that even we know so many languages. So we should know the exact translation of each word. This is just a recommendation for your further research.
It's a traditional approach. I also find out and both my research is a traditional approach. But for communication, it's okay. I say that for professional translation, the language proficiency is very important. But for multilingual communication, friendly communication, it's
That's why I'm just talking about it. Communication is okay, but it's translation approach.
yes.
You should,
The proficiency is more important.
yes. Great.
Başka sorularım olmasa, Magistr. Magistrantlarımızda genel konuşma kuruluşlarına bugün o slaytı hazırladık siz. Okuma kısmında, sağollar kısmında kanal koyalım. Bu son kısımlardan
Recording stuff.
The importance of lingual approach in translation process konusunda Magistr dissertasyası yapıldı. Önemli hafta Afrika'dan Central ve Eşkuat'tan ilişkiler olmayan Afrika prosesi mevcut. Hatta Afrika'dan Central ortam uğraşmış olmalı edilen başka haftası ise Samarkand Davlat Üniversitesi'nde Hoşgörü'yle Filologiya Ilmiy Tadqiqot instituti direktori filologiya fanlari nomzodi dotsent Vohida Usmonova tomonidan muhim qismlar bilan tanishdik.
My topic of research in philosophy approach in the importance of cultural approach in translation process. First of all, I would like briefly talk about the theoretical aspects of translation studies. Also, the practice of translation is very essential, but the science of translation or the translation study is very young. It began to develop during 19th centuries, and in 1970s, French scholars recommended a term pedagogology to define the science of translation. And the English version of this term is pharmacology. It is much more famous around the science of the world. And neuroculturology is the main object of my research. Neuroculturology began to develop thanks to the scientific activities of Russian pedagogical school that was led by Russian scientists. And one of the most representative of this school was Maslova. She defined this science as the science studies the influence of culture in the language of human. And what about the European scholars?
Taylor says that culture is a complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. Therefore, as humans interact with each other in the society, they need to describe their own mentality, their own outlook, their needs that are the result of their culture. And with my own words, I would like to define what human continuity studies. For example, in this picture, you can see the national objects of Uzbek people. For example, here you will see, if we say, we call them in Uzbek language, October or Kuza, Atlas, Kuya, Memorials, human control studies. Why such kind of word exists in the language? Because they are part of their culture, they are the part of their lifestyle. The humans of this language who represent this language need to describe their outlook, which consists of such kind of things, objects. And it may seem very easy when we talk about such kind of material objects, yes? Because they are readable, they are touchable, they are held with our five human senses. But what about our moral, cultural concepts and traditions? How we define them? Why they exist in the languages? For example, such kind of words, hard and commune, mainly and often translated into English as hard. But as you know, that hard does not have such kind of communication as with the word hard and commune. It is known as an anatomical organ of the human, yes. But it is look at this issue from a legal theological point of view. English people use the word soul to describe such kind of correlation, yes. But if we translate this word to Uzbek, it is translated as soul, which is in its own time does not have the same meaning as carbon community. This is the object of study or research of legal theology in translation studies. And in my chapter 2, I was interested in the translation practice in the early period because, as I say, that this science, methodological approach and translation process, appeared only in the late 20th century. But translation practice is very ancient, and I was very interested how people in ancient times dealt with such kind of cultural aspects of translation, how they translated such kind of terms or concepts. But according to my research of several papers, papers that analyze such kind of translations, found that in the early periods, the translators strongly adapted the original words or books into their own language and culture. One example is Homer's Iliad. It was translated firstly by the Latin translator Analysis. He strongly adapted a lot of cultural terms into his own Roman outlook. For example, here in original Greek poem, you may see that I have provided literal translation here. Others of the Athenians, under the fairy tale gods, may they die and may they be noble in war. In the original Greek text, the Aristotle means being noble, which is personal glory or personal success in the world of the sovereign, but it is not such kind of civic service in front of communication. But Lewis Angelicus replaced such kind of concept with the word ritual. Ritual means the civic service of the soul in front of his motherland or in front of his community. It is not personal glory, it is not personal success. It is because that in Greek people assess some soldiers because of their own personal individual characters. But in Roman Empire, they taught the soldiers from the very beginning of the training that they should be true, they should be loyal to their community, that they should forget sometimes about their personal success, and they always should choose the glory of their community. Therefore, religious Andronicus replaced this notion to religion. And another example of such kind of translation is the translation of Arabian tales, which is very famous, 1001 Nights. It was first 18th century by Galan. Galan related most of stories and even sometimes he taught new things, new scenarios to the players. He did it because he wanted it to be interesting for all the aristocratic people. For example, in this case, that in Arabic original tales, there were kind of phrases like al-mardun, which is translated into English as fire in the face of something. But Galan changed it to a proper name, mardun. In original fairy tale, it was described that there was such kind of child who did not believe in God. Instead, they believed to the fire, and they had such kind of some kind of traditions, such kind of how to say, customs in front of fires, and but Gawan changed it to Nagul, and he described Nagul as a god of this community, who is very powerful only when he has fire. He described this and changed the whole story of this fairy tale. And another change is when in original fairy tale, one girl comes to one man when he was just sitting on a praying rug and was reciting Quran and asking him to answer the question with the help of Quran. But the one changed this scenario. He wrote that a girl come to the man and together with him, he prayed to God and asked to sell them bringing their jobs to another city. It is also a big change, transformation to the original fairy tale. As I mentioned, that Gawan did such kind of changes because he wanted this translated fairy tale to be interesting to all his rich people of the French society. However, nowadays such kind of adaptations are strongly criticized. Such kind of case appeared in Russian translation texts also. For example, Russian translator Elena Svidinsky translated Circulated Vanity Fair, firstly in Russian language, and on his paper about the translation of Circulated Vanity Fair, he commented to the translate that transfers the original also developing as a human. For you, he is demanding to transfer everything, not only the some kind of cultural words, not only such kind of some kind of words, but the whole narrative as they were written in Russian society. And one of the modern critics, Russian linguist Tchaikovsky, criticized French strongly and said that because of the density, such kind of French English writers as Dickens, Thackeray, and Charlotte Bronte became Russian citizens, living in Russian districts such as, for example, Pittsburgh and Oscar. And even Dickens himself called Vedensky as Vedensky. It means a harmful one who changes everything, not only changes, but also distorts the cultural, the literal narrative of their work. But one of the Russian modern scholars, Magistr, said that we have not the right to criticize
Just a chapter and conclusion. Because you spoke a lot about.
Okay,
Exactly. I mean, a lot of things.
I have a lot of interesting
Because she's a very good translator. She works with a lot of, let's say, different rules, different words. But now we have just time limit, and again we need your conclusion. So thank you very much.
now I would like to talk briefly about my own research analysis. I analyzed Abdullah last translation by Marquis, and in his translation, Marquis did not use English cultural words, real or tonight or English proverb in order to translate to speak once. Because in the very beginning of his book, he wrote that it's time the world started to learn Uzbek language. Therefore, in most of the cases, he used literal translation, even though it resulted in the loss of stylistic or figurative meaning of some linguistic units. For example, yeah. For example, in translation of proverbs, for example, a boy has 9 months was translated directly as it is impossible to hide the wound with an apple. He didn't use English proverb that has the same meaning. He just paraphrased it and used literal translation. As a result of which, in the translated text, the proverb was its nature as a proverb. Yes, it just became as an ordinary sentence. But Marquis chose such kind of approach, and it is not a kind of search of the translation. Marquis, in most of the cases, use meaning translation, for example, paraphrasing or counting, conscription, translation strategies, and also he used literal translation in most of the cases, and only in practical times he used transference, which means that he used English equivalent of Uzbek cultural linguistic units. And also, I would like to talk about the legal cultural equality in political discourse. I analyzed the speech of our president at Arabic Islam Summit, and and the translation that was produced by simultaneous interpreter at the same time. And the most strategies of translation used by him is paraphrasing. For example, Ukhira or Masala was translated as most urgent and painful issue. And the second most used translation strategy was literal translation. For example, insomnia can be translated for sahifati. As you can see here, a translating for sahifati is a metaphor. He could use other English metaphor that would mean the same thing in his speech. But he just translated it literally as the darkest page of the new history of humanity, which belongs to the words of the metaphor. Another strategy is cultural substitution. İki mukaddes mescid hodler is described in English as the custodian of the two holy mosques. And if we say masjid hodler, he substituted it as the custodians. And one translation or translation, there are some words which are verbalized terms and they are not translated. For example, as it was a religious sound, our president started his speech with this word, and I learned that sometimes we have to preserve such kind of religious deep words or notions in order not to lose the value of his speech. And the method of preservation is sometimes he changed Uzbek metaphors with English ones. For example, Urush all over was translated as the flames of war. He did it because in English and in Uzbek, the flames of war means the same thing. And title adaptation. Title adaptation is used when the title of people is translated into another language. For example, Saudi Arabic Shocker is translated His Majesty the King of Saudi Arabia. In Muslim, we don't use such kind of phrases. His Majesty, order is very rarely used. Instead of this, it's like for short, Shahzada and Shahzada. And the tasteful translation is paraphrasing. It is too long phrase which our president uses to conclude his speech. And in the translation, the interpreter just paraphrased most words. For example, this stuff says, and can already upon the wall and put present in the heart of the mind. And the last point is in Bible translation, our literal or political translation, there is some one only problem that literal and political translation is sometimes may use definition strategy. When we cannot find any equivalent, any other means of translation, we may just define this term in literal translation. Yes, we may write about it in endnotes or footnotes, but in legal translation, we may not use such kind of strategy. We always must find equivalents, even though it is too cultural or too national. For example, in United Nations Human Rights Declaration, one article was translated directly. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This sentence was translated literally, and hem oradan Osmanlı Türkmenler hem de Türkler'de etkileyin yurtlarında. Even though it's not natural in English, we don't say that someone is born in their rights. We say that someone is born with their rights. In translation, they use literal translation and it does not change anything. In conclusion, I can say that even literal translation is sometimes very difficult because of cultural and lexical gap between the languages. I think that in order to say the cultural value of original text or speech, we should use a literal translation, even though sometimes it's metaphorical, communal, or other stylistical features. I would recommend use literal translation to introduce our own cultural language to the world.
Sağ olun.
I can't ask her because I'm sensitive supervisor. She did a great job, a lot of examples, but do not forget about time limit. Yes. Time limit is everything when you represent just some necessary information.
I have one question about chapter 2. Here the topic is cultural challenges in translation processing. Can you name one the most difficult challenge when you translate cultural icons from
Yes,
one
for
language to
example,
another? So what can be one example?
from the analysis of the translation of the formula, I realized that it is most difficult to translate cultural reality and document because it is only in one language. For example, the word culture was translated as stone, which fact. It's not actually the cultural thing, but the translators use such kind of method because of the lexical in the English language. Other lexical units, for example, proverbs, metaphors, or other lexical units may be translated by the help of a lot of translation strategies.
Yansılarınız var mı? Bu Magistr'ın yine farklı bir yerlikte, öneşte o konular story konular, bu hatta başlıyor. Şu an arkadaşlar orada çalıştılar story konu. Ama bilmiyorum. Genelde bu sanatlarımızda bayağı zengin yani. Yani bu zaten ama bir şey sorun. Genelde bu magistrlarımızda aynı sanatlarımızda sorun. Sinkron tarzı öğrenişi sinkron tarzına jarayonida turli texnikalarni yaxshi xabar bo'lish kerak. Bu magistrlarimiz praktika ishlayotganlik bo'lyapti. Ko'p ma'lumotlarni berib, muhokama qismiga bizga kamroq qoldi. Asosiy qismini tanishtirdik. Xulosalarni aytamiz, savollar bilan muhokama qildik.
As we are interpreters, we used to speak more.
Keyingi magistrantimiz yo'ldoshlarimiz yarashmoqda. Lexical characteristics of realia and neologisms in oral translation mavzusida magistrlik dissertatsiyasi qilinadi. Rahbar kafedra dotsenti Navro'z Qudratov imzola olingan. Rahbar xulosasi mavjud. Birinchi taqdiz kafedra dotsenti O'ktamurod tomonidan berilgan va tashqi taqdiz O'zbekiston Finlandiya pedagogika instituti tomonidan taqdim etilgan.
Good afternoon, dear teachers, scholars, and guests. Let me introduce my topic. The theme is about the lexical characteristics of realia and neologisms in oral translation. So, let me introduce the plan for. Let me introduce the plan. So, it includes introduction, chapter 1, differential characteristics of neologisms and realia in oral interpretation, and chapter 2, challenges in handling culturally specific terms, realia, and newly coined terms, neologisms in oral translation. The third one is visual cultural features of translating realia and neologisms, and the conclusion as well as advice. Here, I have included the object, subject, and the aim of the result word. And the next, scientific novelty and theoretical significance and practical significance of the short word has been provided to you here. So I must mention that the methodology that I have used to make the research work here, you can see that theoretical and empirical approaches, quantitative and qualitative methods, case studies, focus analysis, I have used these methods. And
And the next here, some researchers and scholars have conducted some research about this topic. So they are Eugen Maida and Tabor, and German Monday, and Uzbek researchers are Sakar, Saifullah, Navas Kandinov, Amun Mokinov, and Rahimov, and etc. So open form is the root model interpretation in cross-cultural communication. In this collaborative world, the oral interpreters are really important because they have to convey the message from one source community to the target language while maintaining its essence. You can see this term. It's created by another founder. He has divided interpretation into 4 categories. They are different interpretations through either forms, interpretation through even texts, interpretation through whispering, and pseudo interpretation is also called as social. And next one is specific and differential characteristics of the area and neologisms in linguistics and translation studies. This first now what is realia and neologism. So realia are the words which are known in the environment in the target language. Here, in the practical part, lingual cultural features of translating realia and neologisms. Here is an example for you. It's taken from the speech of the representative session at the United States Assembly that he taught from the speech of the representative session at the United States Assembly that he taught and he touched it. In written translation can be as follows. Our goal is to jointly create free global system that ensures physical freedoms, health, and well-being of every human being. So, the simultaneous interpreters have to build these high constraints. That's why the interpreters have to shorten the message while conveying its main essence. While keeping its main essence. So, the simultaneous interpretation can be like this. Our goal is to jointly create very global systems that ensures basic rights, freedoms, health, and welfare of humanity. Here, simultaneous interpreter uses a mission. He used the welfare of humanity instead of well-being of every human being. Instead, in order to keep the message very short. So next, here you can see some examples for realities and for neologisms. On the left side for realities and on the right side for neologisms. If not, I will each one or if you don't want. Okay. So the third part is analysis of examples relating to oral interpretation of neologisms. And also realia. Here I gave some examples of recent neologisms reflecting the language adaptation to modern concepts, technology, and cultural shifts. So from Uzbek language, we have some neologisms we can see here. First one is Dilnet, combining Turkish language and internet, referring to the digital space for Uzbek language use. Next one is Okular, derived from Okash, reading, studying, and life, used to express approval or recommendation for educational content. Next one is Erkanajlish, refers to digitalization, evolving with technological progress in education, and Hamdron, a tremendous Hamdron partner and George initiated describing a cooperative or joint initiative. So, ecotour, short for ecotourism, reflecting the rising trend of sustainable travel in Vietnam. Also, sometimes the presidential speech can be listened to create some neologisms. Here you can see some examples from this. The first one is Bushism. This term, this term is primarily used to describe the word correct or incorrect speech patterns from the speech of former U.S. President George W. Bush. It's can be translated to Uzbekistan, Uzbek language, Russian, not Hatay. Next word is snowmageddon. Popularized by President Barack Obama during several snowstorms in Washington, D.C. This term humorously combines snow with Armageddon, and this describes the extreme weather conditions. It can be translated as total tornado. The next word is visually. It means happy or a significantly. This word also in Donald Trump's speech, he used this word to emphasize the importance or magnitude of something. It can be translated to speak Greek Yolanda. And next word is confirm. This word emerged in 2017 due to a typo in Donald Trump's tweet. He wrote, despite the constant negative effects of fact, the sentence was incomplete and the word of fact did not intend meaning. But when translated into Greek language, of fact can be read as it is or humorously translated as prophet or not. Next word is inequality. It means existing, otherwise to and the next word is axis of error. This term is actually translated as those with in closing language. This phrase was used by President George W. Bush in 2002 to describe the government that supported terrorism and sought to develop weapons of mass destruction. Bush used this term in referring to Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. Next word is Obamacare. This term is essentially an informal name for affordable care act. In Uzbek, Alabama South Dakota, which was introduced by President Barack Obama in 2010. In Uzbek, Obamacare can be translated as Obama'nın South Dakota Islam Şartları. Yes.
So please give me a show of those languages which you stated.
Okay, so I have mentioned social narratives from Uzbek language like Yunet or Gulai. I have mentioned them, but so we can take from Uzbek resident.
Can you have the reasons from these?
Yes. Yes. So, in Uzbek speech, many new terms and neologisms have been used, mainly to emphasize the development of society, innovations, and changes. Here you can see Young Uzbekistan. These are new Uzbek languages. And Uzbekistan hakları başlanışı. People started development. Recommend iqtisodiyot. But this talk only from the presidential speech, but I have mentioned about that the social workers and social mechanisms from Uzbek society, they are still popular, established, or recognized.
So you mean they are
Yes.
But some of them are from foreign languages.
Yes,
They are translated.
Yes. Yeah.
even digital economy. Bakanlık this number of digital economy. This capacity is bakanlık so that is digital economy. It's global digital economy.
Yeah. But just I have taken from the speech, that's why I'm including together as a speaker. Like it's from the presidential speech. That's why it's here.
Şirketlerden uzlaşıp kayboldu.
Çünkü sorar zaten anlamadı ya. Uzun bir uzun yani. Başka bir yer. Kırık bir yer. Tamam.
For example, film push in Uzbek language, it's a neologism for film enthusiasts. From film enthusiast, combining film and push in Uzbek language.
How often do you use this?
Not much. But oral interpretations must be deal with time constraints, and that's why they can move in during their interpretation while keeping its main essence.
Anne closer things.
So conclusion, the analysis of examples related to the translation of realia and neologisms demonstrates the dynamic interplay between language, culture, and context. Translators and interpreters must act as cultural mediators, balancing the fidelity to the source language with the need to adapt positive language. Mastery of strategies, awareness of cultural nuances, and continuous learning are key to overcoming the challenges posed by realia and neologisms.
Sağolun var mı yani? Şu an konuşalım. Sağolun olması. Yani size de haksız yok.
Thank you.
In the magistrate, yoldaşlar faziletini artısı, developing future simultaneous interpreters, listening and speaking skills. Thus, in content, tercüme kapasitesi oluşturulan magistrate disiplinası muayyeneleri ünlüler kafedrasının binası tutarlar. Takdirler olmayan, kafedrasının programlaşmalarına verirken, vatandaşlar kafedrası, inovasyon krizinde, katılımcısı, yorumlamalar gözükmesine çalışıyor, takdirler olmayan. Demek bayıslar bizler işte okul sınavında kısaca danışmış olacağız.
During my dissertation work, I addressed different kinds of scientific works and practicals. Among them, for the first chapter, I used the works of Daniel Gill and E.B. Kim. And for the practical part, for the chapters 2 and 3, I used the work of our teacher Daniel and to be Tajima Optimaki Organization Podcast, and also I use the work of Chilmo and the Center for these chapters. As my scene was covered like that, I analyzed different kinds of works. Among them, one scholarship area divided the translation process into 3 stages. First one is orientations. During the simultaneous interpretation, the translator accepts the information, and then in the second stage, implementation, he creates a text message in target language according to the decision made by the first stage. These first and the two second stages occurs only a few seconds, but the third stage, control stage, involves only a few longer time. In this stage, the translator spends his time to check the accuracy and the correctness of the translations. During these stages, there are several mechanisms that help to achieve this material. First one is probabilistic forecasting. This kind of mechanism helps to identify individual elements more easily to the translator. And second one is speech compression. During this stage, the translator translate the text source language by cutting or deleting or omitting some kind of unnecessary elements. My second point is pragmatic aspect in simultaneous interpretations. Pragmatic factor shows the relationship between the language and the people who use it. It includes understanding the speaker's situation and the speaker's purpose. During the simultaneous interpretation, the translator should communicate or should translate the text in source language in a polite manner. And if the words of the speaker is not understandable or clear for the translator, he can ask any kind of question without any kind of hesitation. During my dissertation work, one point is dedicated to the source language and target language. I compared the Uzbek language and the English language. During this situation, there are several changes in this process. First one is transposition. For example, the fruits are gathered by the gatherers. In English language, the sentence is a passive voice, but in Uzbek language, it turns out to be an active voice. Second one is modulation. For example, he was not feeling well. Not he didn't say a word. And another one is equivalence. It's raining cats and dogs. Or another example is attending for your socks. Adaptation. The weather is like a dog at the beach. Hava ısı, tozlar bakıyor şimdi. I perceive different kind of changes during the translation. For example, word order. To speak language, the word order is like subject, object, verb, but in English, subject, verb, and object. For example, I have a car. It would be "Yeniden машина была." And use of articles. In Uzbek language, we don't have any kind of articles, but in English, articles are very essential too. I have a book, Menda Kitap var. This Menda Kitap var, Menda Kitap var. And then tenses. In Uzbek language, we have only present tense, past tense, and the future tense. But in English, tense system is much more complex than the Uzbek tense system. Gender, another one is gender. Uzbek, no grammatical gender in nouns or pronouns, but in English, gender pronouns, he, she, it. But in Uzbek, we use only he. Plural is the plural form is indicated by adding a suffix "len" in Uzbek language, but in English we can form plural form in incorrect way or adding s or es. And also questions in Uzbek language "ne" or "you can," but in English we have some auxiliary verbs in order to make question form. As a conclusion, I can say that in order to be a professional in simultaneous interpretation, the one should expertise all of the skills, speaking and listening skills in as a professional one.
Ustazlar sağollar var mı? Demek olacak sinfan harcamalarda eşitler soruları kompleklerini şartlanmış.
Malatya expertise mesela. Bazen uzun özellikle silahlı dolayı bana çıkartıyoruz. Sizlerle birlikte speaking bazı bugün var. Şimdi burada bir program organizing festival.
Yes, of course. As I'm a teacher at school, during my lessons, I practice this kind of exercise in my lesson during my lesson. For the university students, I can say that shadowing technique is the best in order to improve their listening and speaking skills. And also by mimicking the translators' speech is also an effective way to improve their speaking.
Sistema programı anlatmak istiyorsan,
So but you have to show these work down work. That's why we speak about that your presentation should be concrete. You need to demonstrate all necessary things from our research because we need to see it. We can't just say, oh, make dissertation and read it. 10 minutes is not enough to read the dissertation. We need to see everything. Your presentation should be concrete. See, you make such a very good analysis, but you need to demonstrate this analysis to show us that you. So, my name is Fazilat, I live in. So, that's
Teknik hata, Mühendisi size yaptım. Mahkeme yaptısı. Kış kısmında havalar kullanması. Magistrantımız.
Ladies first. Just one gentleman.
Geçen açıklama oldu. Kimya magistrantımız Abdülaziz Tahran'dır. The titularities of formation of IT terminology based on materials of English language konusunda isolation vardır. Yeni rapor tam bir toplumcusu nasıl olaylar konuşulduğunda bir maslakçı kampı fotoğrafçısına kuruluş lazım. Raporda masalar mevcut, hakkızlar verilgen, hakkılar sanatlar düşünüyorlar ve başka hakkılar sanatlar soruyor. Servis instituto professora, pedagogo para doktora, Magistr tamamladı. Allah'ın işi istersen aldıklarından işte.
Topic is information technology and the role of English in translating information technology and terminology. So, as information technology is developing day by day, and users are imaging to express new technology concepts and terms, and also interaction and relationships between companies grow. They need to precise translation. Therefore, understanding terminology is crucial in translation studies. So, to express new technological concepts and terms, we should there are different methods to term professions. The first one is compounding. Compounding is to add two words that have their own meanings. For example, firewall is originally two words, but to express new technological concept, we add these two words, and this technological term is used to protect programs from viruses. And this is a kind of antivirus. And also we use abbreviations and acronyms. For example, URL, HTTP, and another method is blending. Blending is merging multiple words to form terms. Block, new, and affixation. There was one adding prefixes or suffixes to existing forms to form new ones. For example, upload. Upload is to put something, to put information on the website or on the internet. Source of information. The first one is storage to express technological terms and concepts. We borrow some words from different languages, especially English, because new technology concepts usually appear in English-speaking countries, and the first terms usually is expressed by English words, and also Greek and Arabic languages are Arabic words are borrowed to express technology terms. For example, data wires algorithm, but I think algorithm is original from food-based words, but it's taken from Arabic word sources. And the next one is neologism. To express new technologies, we create new terms. For example, Google, we can use as a verb, or work from web and blog. Google is not taken from any language. It is the abbreviation of internet provider. The next is classical rules. Usually take borrowed words from Latin and Greek words. For example, one, fibers is challenges and global influence of English. When translators face challenges when adapting IT terms due to the lack of direct equivalence in some languages, and the dominance of English is the IT term is linked to historical and social cultural factors. So, usually it's difficult. It's sometimes difficult to translate IT terms from English to other languages. For example, internet, because we do not have exact equivalence to translate. For example, internet, we just borrow this word directly from English, and it has become everyday word. I think everybody knows this word, even if they don't finish that have exact word. And also, we have many such words, for example, online and offline. Nowadays, as social media networks are developing, people are using such medias, for example, Telegram or Facebook or Instagram. They know what online, what to do online and offline means, even if there are no exact related.
Yes, I have a question.
Close şansını istiyorum. Close şansını yapıyorlar. Close şansını close şansını
In conclusion, the process of translating IT terminology involves complex interactions of linguistic, cultural, and culture and technology. IT terms in English are often critically expressed in technological concepts, presenting a challenge for translators. So, before to be good at translating terms from English to Uzbek, first of all, we should learn IT terminology thoroughly, then we can find, we can translate terminology, context into
Okay, nowadays, you can't only terminology. We use the top 10 terminology, which we use every day.
First, I think as the topic is IT terminology, the term IT terminology, the first one, because nowadays we can see this terminology in our cities. For example, we have such schools like IT schools, IT Magistr. We don't translate this word, this abbreviation, sometimes in English, but we have equivalent. For example, software technology but most people use IT. The next one is social media. Social media, sometimes we translate story, story, but yes. And the next one is online, offline. Online diplomi, online shopping. Sometimes we translate one word and we borrow one word. Online diplomi is an example for it. Because we don't have exact words. Then cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, cyber trust. And cloud storage. Cloud storage it is difficult to understand for ordinary people because only people in IT sector can understand because it has no exact translation. So it requires descriptive translation. Bu malumatlarını saklaş, online'dan uzak, boş yapan malumatları saklaş. Bu vadrasını yazmışlar, bu düşünmesi fakat bunları çıkartılanda IT sahasındakiler düşünmüştür. Çünkü IT technology has begun to be used in, I think, in Uzbekistan for the last 1 or 2 years. So it was time for people to understand. I mean, ordinary people.
My question is about the number of the teachers who have listed and in the transition projects. So how many teachers have you worked out, and maybe with the translation in the transition process by having the translation difficult challenges and what kind of strategies in order to keep not only direct translation, but also some of it that you have mentioned as languagisms, wordings, and other cultural adaptations.
I didn't count exactly calling but I have some terminologies. For example, settings. I use this for settings also. Settings can be translated into web because it has direct influence, social online. Because this word comes in IT terminology many years ago. So in US also, when the phones get ready to use by people, we put came across this word, and later after the languages, Uzbek language is added to the phone apps, phone languages. Many people can be familiar with this word.
So, I just want to speak about some technical parts of your research. So, please change the list of references because the list of references is not correct. That's why please think about it and change what I wrote. And the most important thing also is the content. When we speak about content, so for the content, we mostly do not use abbreviation, but the content they consist of abbreviation, unfortunately. Because content represents the information about each chapter, and when you represent such information, you can't use abbreviation. This is from technical point of view, just please change. I understand it's quite hard to write IT technology everywhere, but at the beginning, just write, connect, write technology, everything change the content. And the problem is with object and subject also you need to divide them. Yeah, we know that object is more general information, yes, and subject is more concrete information. So please change them. And some also footnotes, Snosky, in your research, you need to think about them because you put in, let's say, the year, just a mixture of everything. Please, technical part is, yes, you need to work with technical part because this is quite important. This is not about the research actually, this is about, let's say, techniques. And if you speak about IT terminology or IT technologies, if you speak about technologies, you need to understand that we have specific rules, technical rules. In this way, please just pay attention to this and change them, okay? Just advice. Thank you very much.
Ya sağolun var.
Thank you.
Zaten karşılar. Biliyor musun? Hastalıklaşacağımız bakmadan. Şimdi yazın.
And take your phones, please. Take everything. Take your phones and go. I know. No, I'm not
Sizden nasıl bir? Sizden sonra?